Okay, got it there. Morning. Yo, I'm Lord. Thanks for your attendance. Obviously, press conference looking ahead to two massive games coming up against Cyprus and Israel. The usual format: just take questions from the floor, from the broadcasters, and just switch your microphones and cameras off, and then we'll take from the written press, and then we'll do one-to-ones after with the broadcasters, and then I'll have a word with the Okay. Who wants to go?
Chris, how close was Joe Allen to being available for at least the second game?
The second, well, obviously he was suspended for the first one. We knew that, but we were optimistic for the second one up until recently, really. So it's disappointing because we haven't had Emma Hughes for a while through injury. Can play in that holding position like Joe, and we've lost David Vaughan also. So, you know, natural holding players. It's been a bit tough, but Joe was, we were optimistic about Joe up until recently, and he had a little setback. So, you know, then we have to move on without him for both games, unfortunately.
No David Vaughan?
No David Vaughan. Vaughan's got an issue. He's got to do something with his family or member of his family. So, and obviously that comes first. So the timing of it was just, you know, it clashed, and obviously his family comes first. So we've lost Vaughan also.
Dave Edwards and Jordan Williams. Edwards we know all about, but Jordan Williams, what's the thought behind this goal?
Yeah, Jordan. Again, looking in that holding position, the holding midfield, and Jordan's also played as a centre back. Currently on loan at Swindon. You know, he's played. We looked at Jordan, looked at our situation. We know what these two games are going to be. Two more highly pressurised games of football, and you know, starting with the first one first and foremost, never mind the second one. And you know, Jordan's he's played at Anfield, he's played in front of big crowds, and if you play for Liverpool, there's pressure every game. So that's kind of why we went down that road. A good young player also, played with our younger groups, and hence that's why he's got the nod.
How much have you had contact with Real Madrid about Gareth Bale's famous toe now?
Yeah, you know, I'd be lying if I said when it initially happened, then, you know, you're holding your breath a bit, of course. But, you know, the scan and the feedback was positive, thankfully. So, don't think there's going to be a problem. There's been constant conversations with both medical teams. There's a very good relationship there. So, you know, we've still got a bit of time yet, but the scan that came back was a positive one, thankfully, and it wasn't as bad as first thought. So we're optimistic about that.
And virtually every game that you know, you call him up, there's always talk of him moving. But I mean, the deadline day is Tuesday at 6, the day before you fly out. Are you expecting any flurry of activity with him?
You never know, do you, with football? But I think, you know, if you're talking about unless something's been going on behind closed doors that none of us know about, I mean, in both clubs, the finances involved for signing a player like that is, you know, it's astronomical. So I can't see anything happening. No, I've not heard anything. See the media speculation, of course, but you know, you're talking about it. That's a major deal. Be another probably world record if he's going to move, and I don't see it happening. No, you never know. Football being football, but you know, I've not heard anything that would make me think that maybe he's going to be coming back and playing his football back in this country.
How concerned are you about Joe Ledley and Wayne Hennessy's inactivity at Palace, although both played last night? Your club not doing you many favours there.
We were glad. I spoke to Osh last night, and glad that they both got minutes, you know, because a bit different with Wayne, I suppose. You know, goalkeepers are different. And I think Joe's done a magnificent job for us, centre midfield. And then obviously he's not figured since the start of this season, which is a worry. But he's got minutes last night, and that's important. Last night was kind to us, really. A lot of players got 90 minutes. Some of them not been getting 90 minutes. So last night, it was it was pleasing to see a lot of our lads, especially Joe, getting minutes under his belt, which will be good for us, because the two games that are coming up are in close proximity to each other, and physically it's the travel as well. Coming back, going to Cyprus, coming back. Physically it's going to be tough for us, these two games. We know that. So it was nice last night to see one or two of the guys getting minutes.
So overall, with the likes of Ben Davies and James Collins coming back, in some ways, despite the absence of Joe Allen, the squad may be in better shape than it was before the Belgium game.
I think the one thing we've tackled, and we've done it really well, and that's down to my staff, is that squad has always changed. We've rarely had 100% squad. We've always had key players missing, but we've got on with it and we've dealt with it, and that's because of my staff, my close staff, the medical team. There's constant conversations, and we work very hard when we're together to make sure we maximise what we've got. So whoever we get again in this camp, whoever's here, whoever's missing, we'll go on with it and we'll make the most of it. And it's not something that we'll make excuses going into the game. It's about us. It's always been about us. No matter who turns up, we'll maximise what we've got and we make sure we perform.
Cyprus were a bit aggressive, weren't they, at the Cardiff City Stadium?
Yeah.
Expecting the same?
Yeah, expect the same probably. It'll be hot. They'll not going to want to. Played in Cyprus quite a few times over the last 15 or 20 years. It's never an easy game. It's always a tough game. But they're all tough. We know that. But again, it's about us. And there's no excuses. No excuses. We take away all excuses before we start. It's about us. It's about us getting it right. So far, we've done great. So far. It's still not enough to get us where we want to be, and we know about everything that's been said about the rankings, which is great. Success is qualifying. That's it. And we haven't qualified. We've put ourselves in a great position, but 12 points to play for, so we've got a lot of work to do. We've still got big performances to come. And the only game that matters is the next one, and that's Cyprus. Cyprus away has never been easy for us. We know that. But like I said before, if we're gonna be classed as this group of players are the best group of players we've had, then we've got to go there and get result. And that's the pressure on us. That's the pressure we've won. We've worked hard for it. So come what may, we've got to go to Cyprus and we've got to deliver. Whatever they want to do, however they go about their business, that's up to them. We just got to concentrate on ourselves.
Last couple for me. It's been a long time since Belgium. In that time, while you've been feeding the baby or whatever, have you ever thought to yourself that just how historic next week could be for you, your squad, for Welsh football, for the thousands who are travelling to Cyprus, and the even more bigger crowd who are going to be there for Israel? Have you thought about just what it might mean? Honestly,
Rob, I've thought about Cyprus. I've never ever, when we have double headers in this camp, I think I learnt from the last campaign. In this campaign, I thought when we get double headers, we can only concentrate on that first game, because you've got to get that right, and especially the position when we are. So I know Israel is in the back of my mind. It's somewhere in the distance. We've just got to concentrate on Cyprus. We've got to get that performance right, because look, I'd be lying if I said I don't know what may happen and what's possible. We all know that, but we can't afford to. Myself, my staff, the players, we cannot afford to take our eye off the ball in this first game. We have got to be on it in this first game. We've got to make sure we perform, prepare like we've always prepared, which is we leave no stone unturned. We're always looking for that little extra 1%, wherever we can gain it, and that's hard work for us when we're in camp. It's this first game in Cyprus. We know what the possibilities are. But like I said earlier, there's 12 points to play for. So it's not all or nothing in these next 2 games. It's almost all or nothing in this next game, because we've got to get it right. We've got to perform again. We've got to make sure preparation's right, and we know what's possible down in the distance if things go our way. But it's this next 90 minutes, which is going to be a tough one, we know. But that's what we concentrate on.
And last one, you said in St. Petersburg you wanted to take Wales into the next World Cup as well. Any chats between you and Jonathan on the plane home about all that? Or
Yeah, we had we all went out for dinner while we were there. Osh, myself, Jonathan, IG was there, Trevor, our president, Mark Evans. We went out for dinner and had a chat, My reason for not wanting to get into negotiations about a new contract is because all I think about is doing. This is the first part of the job, if you like, for me, and that's qualifying for France. Now, if we do that, and I've always believed that we would do it in this campaign, because I know the quality we've got, I know how good we are. But I've got to make sure that I get that right. We've got to make sure we get that right. Now, if that happens, and I believe it will, then we can sit down and talk about obviously me signing a new contract, because even in the last campaign, when it wasn't such an easy ride for any of us, managing Wales, I've always said that is the biggest job I'll ever have. It's the biggest honour I'll ever have as a manager, no matter what happens to me afterwards. So I don't really want to give that up lightly. Of course I don't. Nevertheless, I still want to make sure we get this job done, and that means keeping our focus on this campaign and not worrying about the next one. The next one will come along. We've got to make sure we keep our focus on this one. Thanks.
Any more questions from
Chris? You want to support Wales. Looking back at your career as a player and then as a manager, how do you think the next 10 days are going to compare with these 2 massive games that you've got?
In this, we've played 6 games. In this campaign, the next game has always been everything on it, which is the position where we wanted to be. Now, going into the Belgium game in the last camp was, of course, who's the biggest game. We did a great result in Israel, and so we get the result, and it's an incredible night. Now, this game's even bigger. Every game that's come along, because we've either been second or top in the last 3 or 4 games. So the next game that comes along is always a bigger one for us, because we're fighting for something special. And I would say these last 6 games have been the most important, because we're onto something special. The last game against Belgium was probably my favourite as a player or manager. I've been lucky enough to be involved in some big games, and it's like Robbo, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And I've had a fair share of both. But the last game, I think as well, was the atmosphere at Cardiff Stadium. Beating Belgium, who were second in the world, and they're a great team. And then we said, right, we've got a great chance now of doing something that's not been done. So the last 6 games have probably been my biggest. The next game is going to be a big one, even bigger, because we're still up there and we've still got a great chance. So the pressure is massive, it's huge, it's a great pressure to have. But yeah, I think this period of my career is definitely the biggest, because there's so much we can achieve, we can achieve that I've never achieved, and I've got a chance to do that. Of course, attached to that is all the pressure that comes with it. But yes, it's been it's the biggest challenge, biggest honour I've ever had, and I'm saying that we've still not qualified. So I know how big this next game is. I know what all the dangers are. So I've never, even after we beat Belgium, I got carried away. I said before we played Belgium, I thought we could qualify. but we know you can feel it around the country. You know, no matter where we go, you can feel it. There's the belief there. There's excitement, a little bit of anxiety, of course. So, like I said, the pressure's massive, but this is what we've always wanted. It's what I always wanted, to be in a position where we're going to do something special. So they've done brilliant. They've done fantastic. And the good thing about them is when we get together now, it's always about the next game, you know. And they've coped with it so well. We've never had to remind them that, you know, hey, all right, we're doing well. Let's not get carried away, because they haven't get carried away. And I'm more towards, I'm saying to them, you know, you can walk around with a little bit of a strut. You need that confidence. You need that little bit of because without it, you don't progress. So it's pointless us pretending that, you know, okay, you know, we can't have that attitude where it's Wales and we're 3 million people, and we have to have a bit of a strut, and we have to have that belief, and that's what, you know, and that's what will make us deliver. We know the pressure's on. It's what we want. We've proved we can perform against anyone. We just got to keep proving it until we get to the stage where we've done that special thing, and that's qualify.
And how will you spend the weekend, mate? Some big games coming up.
Yeah, I hate this weekend. I do Saturdays.
Yourself in the dark rooms.
Almost, yeah. I normally spend Saturday in front of the TV. This Saturday, so then I can see all the different. I rarely go to a game on this weekend. I stay and I watch what's going on around the country. Osh will be out somewhere. Obviously, Paul Trollope will be involved. But I normally sit in front of the TV and just monitor everything. Because the information now you can get is incredible, as you know. So but I hate this weekend. My phone's there. The one call I don't want is from Mark Evans, because he'll be the one that will say,
Don't answer it.
yeah, I've done that before. So I don't enjoy this weekend. I don't enjoy it.
Have you let yourself for a second, when you sat at home, think about what it would be like next June in Wales to France?
Yeah, I honestly, yeah. I think, you know, growing up, football's in your blood, and you watch the World Cups and the European Championships, and you just watching the games every day, and you hope and pray, and you wish that you could be a part of that. And I wasn't good enough as a player to be a part of it, and now I got a chance to be a part of it as a manager. So it's impossible not to think maybe, you know, that experience could be coming along. So yeah, I do, and I think that also, you know, that spurs me on as well to think that's a possibility, and so we have to deliver. I've got to deliver. We've all got to deliver to make sure we get there, because you know, it would be something special, obviously.